Hello, I'm Lara Kochersen and this is Newsfeed, your dose of what people are talking about online. The situation in the Middle East remains volatile as arch-rivals Israel and Iran continue to strike each other with missile attacks. Calls for de-escalation have so far fallen on deaf ears, with both sides ramping up their assaults. In Tehran, Iranians are scrambling to vacate the city, and as sirens sound in Tel Aviv, Israelis are taking shelter in bunkers. By Monday, more than a dozen Israelis and over 200 Iranians, including its highest-ranking military officer, had been killed. Israel warned Iranians living close to weapons factories and nuclear sites to evacuate. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has stated that a regime change in Tehran could be the result of the attacks. But Israeli attacks on residential neighborhoods have united many Iranians, even those who do not support the regime. Iran has not backed away from the fight, it has retaliated and even warned Israelis they should leave the country. The escalations have raised fears of a wider regional conflict with possible responses from proxies.
Guys, Israel just wants peace. That's why they bombed Iran and Lebanon and Syria and Palestine and rejected every single permanent ceasefire. And bombed all the cell towers in Gaza so they couldn't take any videos. They do this because they want peace, guys. Don't let the pro-pallies deceive you.
Israel targeted military leaders while Iran launched hundreds of rockets at civilians. We are not the same. There are at least 200 civilians included in the Iranian death toll in the last few days, and several hundred more that are injured, including women and children. There are also tens of thousands of civilian casualties in Gaza, including 16,000 children. Israel absolutely targets civilians. One of the IDF's first strikes in Iran was on an apartment building that an IRGC commander was in. Is that a legitimate target? An apartment? Well, they have nuclear weapons. They're dangerous and a threat to Israel's existence. Israel has been claiming Iran has nuclear weapons since literally 1992. Meanwhile, it's confirmed that Israel has up to 300 nuclear weapons illegally. Their nuclear program has been in violation of international law for decades. They've also refused to join the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, which Iran has joined. So tell me again, who is a threat to whose existence?
The U.S. is already involved. Not offensively, but defensively. You see, what we've learned, especially the past few days, is that many countries, including the United States, when they know about these things happening, drones and things, they put their own fighter pilots in the sky to take down some said targets. Mostly because we have to protect our men, our bases, and we don't know whether or not those things are going to our men or our bases. And so, as Iran is sending things over, we're taking down some of these objects. We're doing it via air and other ground-based launchers. That being said, we've never physically helped offensively, though Iran would say that we're giving them intel, and we don't know whether or not that is true right now. We haven't helped them in a sense of we're sending our own fighter pilots to now fight inside of Iran or shoot things into Iran.
With the war in Gaza drawing international condemnation and waning support at home, analysts say the military maneuver is Netanyahu's means to win favor with Israel's electorate. He needs to show that he's aggressive by opening up new fronts. Already, Netanyahu has taken out top leaders from Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis in Yemen in a bid to reduce Iran's proxies in the region. With the world now focused on Iran, Israel can also divert attention from what's unfolding in Gaza. After months of seeing Gazans suffer, social media users are showing little sympathy for Israelis.
ובעיקר מה שכואב לי זה המציאות שלנו ועבודה. אתה מבין שכל עניין של שניות, הכל עניין של מזל, והרגשתי פשוט ברולטה היום. ילדה לא צריכה לעבור את זה. ואישה מבוגרת לא צריכה להרגיש לבד ולפחד מפה ישנה היום. אתה מבין שאני לא יכולת למות. אני מבחינתי זה אשמתי.
With the world's top leaders failing to force Israel to stop its brutal war on Gaza, activists and pro-Palestinian supporters from across the world descended on Egypt to march to the Gaza border. But thousands of well-intentioned protesters have been blocked and detained by Egyptian authorities. The internet is overflowing with videos of angry activists.
I beg you, I'll go onto my knees and I will beg you for these people. I'm a proud man and I'm a nurse. I paid to go to Palestine myself. I've had babies die in my arms. They shot pregnant women in front of me. For love, for humanity, for Islam. Stand with your Islamic peoples.
All eyes are on what role the US President Donald Trump's administration will play in diffusing the conflict initiated by its biggest ally. Israel has warned that its attacks on Iran are expected to last weeks and not days. There are also concerns about how regional Arab leaders will react. But in the meantime, as Israeli and Iranian missiles illuminate the Lebanese skies, locals who are no strangers to Israeli attacks went about their evenings in a novel way.
In the end of the world is going on here. So while Iran and Israel are bombing the shit out of each other, there's a video going viral now from neighboring Lebanon of a guy playing the saxophone while missiles explode in the night sky. This is so 2025. Imagine your entertainment for the night, along with dinner and a DJ, being ballistic missiles. We're actually cooked.
The US Army celebrated its 250th anniversary on Saturday with a large-scale military parade in the nation's capital. Coinciding with President Donald Trump's 79th birthday, the event included a mobile display of more than 6,000 service members and 84 military vehicles. Troops in historic uniforms marched alongside modern armored equipment, showcasing the evolution of the US Army from its Revolutionary War roots to the future. Supporters hailed the parade as a patriotic tribute to military history and service. It was a parade that turned heads not just for its size, but for what it stood for. A bold display of American military power at a time when the country feels more divided than ever. Critics have called it a politicization of the armed forces and a departure from long-standing democratic traditions. A nationwide movement called No Kings erupted across all 50 states in response to Trump's perceived authoritarianism.
On Saturday, June 14th, Donald Trump hosted a military parade in Washington, D.C. that ended up with lackluster attendance. He spent tens of millions of dollars to display the strength and wealth of America in a way that Americans just aren't used to. Meanwhile, over 5 million Americans in almost every large city across the nation exercised their First Amendment right in No Kings. Most of them were peaceful displays and exercises of those First Amendment rights to remember why we don't have a king in the United States of America.
The No Kings movement was led by the 50-51 group. That name stands for 50 states, 50 protests, one movement. From city streets to crowded parks, demonstrators marched in their thousands, chanting for democracy, immigrant rights, and a rejection of what they see as rising authoritarianism. While the protests were largely peaceful, in Salt Lake City, Utah, a man was shot during the march and died on Sunday. The suspected shooter is a member of the event's own peacekeeping team. The protests come just days after immigration raids escalated nationwide. Tensions boiled over when President Trump deployed National Guard troops and Marines to Los Angeles, where demonstrators blocked freeways and set vehicles on fire. Meanwhile, President Trump continues to turn up the heat on immigration. On Sunday, he ordered federal officials to focus deportation efforts on Democratic-run cities. In a fiery social media post, Trump told U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, to go all in, calling them to do all in their power to deliver the single largest mass deportation program in history. He said that means ramping up arrests and deportations in major cities like Los Angeles, Chicago, and New York. Trump claimed millions upon millions of illegal aliens are living in those areas. As protests sweep across the country, images and videos are flooding the internet. But so is misinformation.
Many social media users turn to AI chatbots like Grok and ChatGPT for answers on fast-moving events, but those AI tools have been caught pushing false or outdated information. NewsGuard, a bipartisan fact-checking group, has flagged dozens of misleading posts, including one where users claimed California Governor Gavin Newsom posted a fake image of National Guard troops. That false claim was boosted by chatbot Grok, which told users the photo originally published by the San Francisco Chronicle was outdated. And it's not just AI. The paid protester myth is also back. A fake Craigslist ad made the rounds, offering up to $12,500 for people to show up at the LA demonstrations. It was completely fabricated, but went viral. Then came the bricks. Social media lit up with claims that piles of bricks had been planted in protest zones to fuel violence.
Sometimes a pile of bricks is just a pile of bricks. But online, people are sharing this image as if it's evidence of a vast conspiracy theory to fund protests and fuel violence in Los Angeles. But here's the thing. This photograph wasn't taken in California. It was taken more than 2,000 miles away in New Jersey.
Footage of looting, arson, and earlier protests have been recycled and falsely passed off as current events.
Remember that it's really easy to pull any old photo off the internet and share it out of context. This Jeep on fire was filmed in March 2024. This video was actually taken during the 2020 police brutality protests. And this photo also has nothing to do with the current protests and was taken in 2022.
In some cases, it's not even real footage at all, just scenes from video games or movies edited to look real. With generative AI in the mix, the line between fact and fiction is getting harder to see. The bottom line is, in the age of viral protests and viral lies, don't just scroll, double check with other sources.
Have you ever noticed that many social media influencers seem to share certain personality traits? As more and more teens want to be influencers, a new study reveals that the same qualities that make someone a drama queen might also make them digital royalty.
Researchers from Poland's University of Wrocław and the University of Oxford surveyed around 800 teenagers in the UK and Poland. They asked about career goals, including interest in becoming an influencer, and they found some clear personality patterns. They measured what's known as the Big Five traits: openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. They also looked at how dramatic each teen was. The results showed that higher levels of extroversion, narcissism, and dramatic behavior were strongly linked to wanting to be an influencer. Interestingly, talent was not a significant factor in this equation. The study suggests this all comes down to a deep need for attention and validation. It's the same kind of drive seen in theater kids, just aimed at a phone camera instead of a stage.
Social media doesn't create narcissists, and not all influencers are narcissistic. But the internet does provide narcissists with a platform.
Social media, all this stuff, it's not what we call an ideological contributor. It's not contributing to the origin of narcissism. No one is becoming narcissistic because of Instagram, right? It is what it's done is it's created the fertile ground. It's created the petri dish. So it is allowed to flourish there. It's given them a mothership. It's given them the arena, as it were. Narcissism's always been there. This is not new. They've always been around. They just got their audiences and their validation in different ways. Where the internet has gotten real interesting, grandiose narcissism, arrogant, pretentious, always a thing. But these vulnerable narcissistic folks, aggrieved, resentful, sullen, angry, moderately paranoid, no empathy, lots of grudging entitlement, failure to launch, that form of narcissism has gone off in the era of social media. It is not that social media makes it, it fosters it. And here's the thing, not everyone who takes a selfie is narcissistic.
And that's our show. Find our latest stuff on YouTube and do subscribe to our channel. See you soon.